Hey Retro Tech friends, and welcome to another edition of Dave's Retro Video Lab, the show where I examine old video gear from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Today in the lab we are going to examine a special camcorder. All the way from 1987, I present to you the JVC GF-S1000H. This is not just a cool looking camcorder, it's got great specs, which is one of the reasons why I picked up this cool piece of retro tech in the first place. Evaluating its overall condition, I have to say our S1000 here is in relatively good condition. The lens is nice and clean, the body has very few scratches. Even the windscreen is in great shape, which I hope means that this camera is fully functional. Later in the show, we will test out our Super VHS friend here to see if it still works, but first, let's take a look at what's under the hood of this tricked out piece of retro tech. Introduced in the fall of 1987, the JVC Full stop. Who are you?
I'm Marie, your new retro video lab model.
Tess!
What's up, Dave?
Why is Vanna White in our laboratory?
Dave, the lab rats and I thought we needed to glam up the show a bit. So this is my cousin Marie. She's beautiful and talented, and I owe her a favor.
Tess, there is nothing wrong with our show.
Dave, where do I even begin?
What?
Look at this. The analytics suck. The show needs pizzazz. It needs Marie.
It does?
Dave, her credentials are fantastic. She starred in the community theater's production of Streetcar, and her Blanche Dubois was fantastic. Plus, she has screen tested so well with those lab rats.
How much are we paying her?
That's the best part. Absolutely nothing. She wants to be famous and go to Hollywood. So I may have told her we have 1 million subscribers.
But Tess, we only have like 500 subs.
Wait, you don't have 1 million subs?
Action!
The JVC GF-S1000H was introduced in 1987 and cost about $2,500. If adjusted for inflation, the S1000 would cost about $6,000 today. Built around a 2/3 inch CCD with 380,000 pixels, JVC's S1000 could output 450 lines of horizontal resolution and record in as little as 8 lux of illumination. The S1000 utilized a double azimuth forehead video system which could lay down over 400 lines of horizontal resolution on a Super VHS tape. Throw in a high-speed shutter, robust edit features, plus high-fidelity audio, and the JVC GF-S1000H was certainly aimed at prosumers who wanted more than just a point-and-shoot camcorder. I want to take a moment and discuss the JVC S1000's retail box.
Nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Anytime I can get a hold of a camera with its box is always a huge plus. The S1000's retail box clearly screams what era this camera came from. If you guessed the late 1980s, you are right. With its splashy graphics and bold color scheme, this box really defines an era. I have always found JVC's cameras and retail packaging to be quite distinctive. Now it is time when the rubber meets the road and we test our JVC GF-S1000H to see if it's going to work. As I mentioned earlier, this particular S1000 is in near mint condition, so I am hoping that means I've got a winner on my hands. If it's a dud, I have something special planned, so stay tuned, but first let's fire this thing up and see what happens. Now, to save some time, I have already plugged in the JVC S1000's power supply and hooked up the video cable to my JVC switcher. All I have to do now is turn on the camera and aim it at the chip chart. Okay, let's begin, shall we? The power supply is already turned on, but one of the interesting things I've noticed already is that there's this little 0 on the camera's LCD display. I did not power it up yet, and I don't know why that's there already, but I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to try to power this on. I don't know, friends. No. Well, I think this camera is a dud, which, well, kind of sucks. Oh, I was really hoping this camera was going to work. So that means that, you know what, Vanna? Because this camera is DOA, that means you are DONE. Goodbye.
What? Lights! Don't you just love those long, rainy afternoons in New Orleans, where an hour just isn't an hour, but a little piece of eternity dropped in your hands? And who knows what to do with it?
Okay, well, anyway, if I had to take a wild guess as to what's wrong with this S1000, I would say it probably has several bad caps. I don't think it's power related because the LCD is displaying a 0, though that could mean that there may not be enough power to operate the camera, which could send me back to the bad cap problem, maybe? This camera is too nice to crush, so I am going to make an attempt at getting it fixed. That's crazy talk coming from me, right? Sorry, Mr. Crusher, maybe next time. Anyway, I would like to bring this camera back to life, so I will actually attempt to get it fixed. I will keep you all posted on my camera's repair progress. In its day, the JVC GF-S1000H was a feature-packed camcorder with great specs, which is why I felt it was worth adding to my collection, and I hope you think so too. That wraps up another edition of our show. The Lab Rats and I want to thank you for stopping by. We hope you had a great time, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care, my retro tech friends, and remember to always keep your heads clean. Tess!
Yeah, what's up, Dave?
What? Why is Vanna White in our studio? Nope. Damn it, it's not a studio, it's a laboratory. One more time. Stop.